Grigor Dimitrov's footwork stands out on the ATP Tour because it blends fluidity with explosive precision, enabling him to constantly position himself ideally for each shot. His ability to shift directions swiftly, recover quickly after each stroke, and maintain balance through change-of-pace rallies gives him a distinct edge. The training that underpins this level of movement, focusing on agility, coordination, and rapid directional change, effectively translates into on-court advantages that any player could exploit. When Dimitrov moves into a rally, his lower body responsiveness allows him to arrive at the ball early, set up his stroke comfortably, and execute with control rather than merely reacting. By doing so, he reduces the amount of forced adjustment mid-swing, stays balanced through follow-through, and returns to a ready position efficiently. This kind of dynamic movement means he can handle heavy ground strokes, sudden drop shots, or angled fireaway plays with fewer mistakes. In short, his movement turns potential chaos into opportunity. Because his agility training emphasizes rapid first steps and sharp decelerations, Dimitrov often catches opponents off balance. He can step into a forehand or backhand with minimal wasted motion, in effect translating his physical readiness into tactical dominance. On baseline exchanges, he doesn't merely survive, but frequently initiates change. His footwork allows him to push into offensive positions, advance or sidestep laterally with ease and timing. When the court opens, his movement gives him the chance to transition quickly from defense to attack or from baseline to net. That versatility makes his game less predictable. Furthermore, the control he gains from improved footwork reduces vulnerability in defense. Rather than scrambling late and generating weak replies, Dimitrov frequently arrives in good position, allowing him to hit more confident, deliberate strokes. In high-pressure moments, especially when his opponent is moving aggressively, his refined movement gives him the psychological and physical upper hand. He looks relaxed, measured, even under pressure. That calm comes from movement mastery, the sense that he's always one step ahead in getting into the right place. What this means for any player is significant. If you replicate that focus on movement, working on your ability to shift direction cleanly, maintain balance in motion, and arrive at the ball in a ready posture, then you too can elevate your court coverage, reduce unforced errors, and recover faster between shots. The benefits are not limited to elite pros. Even intermediate players who improve their agility and foot placement gain measurable dividends. Increased shot-making options, better defensive resilience, and smoother transitions across different phases of play. For example, by enhancing your first step, you can turn defense into offense quicker, giving you more time and space to execute positive rather than reactive tennis. If you work to decelerate with control, you avoid being off balance at point of contact, meaning your strokes are cleaner, more consistent. By refining your lateral agility, you can cover the baseline more effectively, cut down opponents' angles, and force them into making riskier plays. Essentially, improved movement gives you more control over the rally. In Dimitrov's case, his excellent footwork complements the elegance of his shot-making. He's able to generate timing on his forehand and backhand because he arrives in position. The movement becomes the foundation upon which his technique rests. Without that base of reliable motion, even the best strokes can misfire through poor balance or slow reach. So his movement training amplifies his shot-making rather than simply supporting it. Moreover, his movement allows him to adapt gracefully to court surfaces and changing rally patterns. Whether on clay, where sliding and adjusting foot plant matter more, or on hard courts where quick stops and starts dominate, Dimitrov's agility training pays dividends. Movement is seldom one-size-fits-all in tennis. By training it specifically, he makes his game more robust across conditions. That same principle applies for other players. Adapting movement training to surface demands improves readiness and reduces surface-specific weaknesses. Another important effect of his footwork is stamina conservation. When movement is efficient, minimal wasted steps, good posture, clean transitions, the body expends less energy covering the court. Over long matches, that efficiency can translate into fresher legs, steadier decision-making, and fewer lapses late in sets. Dimitrov's capacity to maintain high-level movement deep into a match allows him to sustain his level rather than fading. Other players can likewise benefit. Better footwork equals durability. Lastly, the aesthetic of Dimitrov's movement, how he glides into position, recovers with rhythm, also conveys confidence. Opponents sense when a player is comfortably in movement versus scrambling, and this psychological edge can shift momentum. Training your agility and movement so that you appear poised, not rushed, gives you a subtle but real advantage. On faster courts, where reaction speed and quick recovery are vital, his movement allows him to get in front of the ball more often and redirect pace. On slower surfaces, where sliding and repositioning matter, his trained foot shifts allow him to stay balanced in rallies, enabling him to hit with depth rather than being pinned behind the baseline. In summary, good movement isn't just about being fast, it's about being efficient, stable, and able to sustain high-level performance under fatigue. Another important outcome is mental. When a player knows they can move effectively, they play with more confidence. Dimitrov's movement gives him the sense that he's never out of the point until it ends. That belief influences his shot making. He takes chances, constructs points, transitions forward, and counters deep balls rather than just surviving. Because of his movement, he forces opponents to play extra balls, open up the court more, and potentially take more risks. One breakdown of his statistics shows that his forehand, in part because his movement supports it, is used in about 54% of rallies when compared to his backhand, and he hits more winners per match off that wing than the tour average. For any aspiring player, the translation is clear. If you train movement so that you're arriving to shots early, balanced, with foot positioning already set up, you will create more time to decide what to do with the ball. You'll reduce the chance of hitting from behind, off balance, or with compromised technique. You'll be more capable of mixing up the pattern, defending, attacking, recovering, and less likely to be dominated by pace or court geometry. Conversely, neglecting footwork often means being perpetually reactive, rushing, overextending, hitting on the run, leaving yourself stuck deep, and ultimately being less consistent. In Dimitrov's game, the improved footwork also amplifies his shot-making signature. His forehand and one-handed backhand are more effective because his movement feeds them. Without the footwork, those shots might still look good, but would more frequently suffer from late preparation, rushed balance, and compromised recovery. The movement is the foundation from which his fluidity springs. Observers of his game have noted that his footwork underpins his whole style, not just speed but adaptability.